Lana Parrilla, you must be having an absolute ball playing the evil queen on Once Upon a Time. I'm sure you asked it all the time, but really, you must be having a real blast.
I am. It's a tremendous amount of fun. I never thought I would ever play a Disney iconic character, and I never saw myself playing a princess at that. So playing the evil queen has been a dream gig. It
Yeah.
really has on so many levels.
Hmm.
It's a lot of fun.
Especially, she's obviously such an iconic character, and we all know her from our childhoods. What was your brief when bringing this new spin on such an old classic?
You know, the one thing I really wanted to, bring to the character was a humanity, a level of truth, a real person, and not confined by or defined by, that she's a classic, iconic Disney character.
Yeah.
I tried to really separate the two, just for the sake of storytelling and character development. I thought it was really important to not make her the evil queen, ruled by vanity and revenge. I really wanted her to have the complexities of a human being and the different colors and layers that we all possess. And in order to do that, there was a lot of there was a lot of work involved in the early stages of developing this character, where I couldn't, the pressures of having to play the evil queen from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was something that I really had to just put out of my mind.
The evil queen is such an over-the-top, larger-than-life character. How important is it for you to have the hair and the makeup and the costumes for you to really get into that character?
It's very important. I didn't even realize how much it would play into the part, because during the audition, my hair was as you see it, and I came up with this a very just black top, black stockings, and a big shawl, and that was the costume. And she has evolved over time. I've grown as an artist in playing her, but the character has evolved not only through her costumes, but as the character, and it plays. The costumes have helped me a lot. Putting on those big dresses and feeling the weight of the skirt, and the heels that I wear are about 6 to 8 inches, and they're very high. It gives me like it empowers me. I feel like I'm towering over people. I feel when I'm wearing the dress that it like I could do so much with it, and it's created a body language for me.
Perhaps one of your knights, Your Majesty.
No. I need someone adept at murder, bereft of mercy.
Someone with no heart.
Now you understand.
Well, in that case, you need a huntsman.
The hair and makeup, and the more dramatic her hair is, to me, I feel like, especially in Fairy Tale Land, the crazier she's becoming. And
Yeah.
it really expressed in her hair and her
Yeah.
eye makeup.
With the Emmys, fantasy TV shows are a bit hit and miss. Sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't. But Once Upon a Time has been so successful, especially for ABC, who was really obviously behind the show. Just renewed it for a second season, so congrats on that, by the way.
Thank you.
How does it feel? I mean, you've been around for a while. You've been on TV for at least a decade or more. And so you, like most actors, know how hard it is to first get onto a project and then secondly get onto a project that strikes a nerve and is successful. So how does it feel to be on such a buzzworthy show, a water cooler show, and a show that does so well in the ratings?
Awesome. I mean, this is my 7th series, and the last show that I had that went into a second season was Boomtown, and that was about 9 to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I know you interviewed Donnie Wahlberg as well, so I don't know if you had a chance to talk about that, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, it's kind of almost surreal because I'm so used to them getting canceled. I'm like, wait, this is really happening? Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
It feels great. It also kind of takes the pressure off for the first time in a really long time, which has been nice to kind of enjoy a hiatus and travel and do the things I haven't been able to do, during this time off.
Are you based in Vancouver permanently while the show is running?
Yes. Yes, I am. Yeah.
So you mentioned Boomtown. I was I was going to raise that later, but we might as well go there now. That was probably your breakout role. I remember you very clearly, and I was such a fan of the show back then. It was so groundbreaking for a network show to be so raw and so well written. Unfortunately, it died very early on in the second season. But some of the actors that you played against, like Donnie Wahlberg and Neil McDonough, are now working in other shows. And do you ever see them? Ever see any of the Boomtown people in your travels generally?
Well, Donnie Wahlberg and Jason Gedrick and I all have the same agent.
All right.
So we always, keep in touch via IFA, which is Elaine Feldman Talent Agency. So we're always keeping up with one another's career.
Yeah.
The agency. I haven't seen Donnie in years. Jason I haven't seen in a while, but oddly enough, yesterday or 2 days ago, I was in New York for the upfronts, and I bumped into Vanessa Williams, who joined our second season of Boomtown. And it was really nice to see her. I haven't seen her in about 9 years, and we had a really nice catch-up. So, and she's doing really well. She's on that new ABC show with Terry O'Quinn.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It was nice to see her, yeah.
Now, back to Once and Again, before Once Again fans kill me. The Evil Queen, you could say, if you wanted to take it into a certain direction, you could be a real scenery chewer. Like it's ripe for that type of acting. Are you dialing it back? Are you told to dial it back? Are you told to just go crazy? Like, what is the direction that you're usually given for this character?
Well, I'm not given much direction. Fortunately, my producers are really happy with what I'm doing, and that's a huge validation. And so that gives me a lot of confidence to continue doing the work that I'm doing. But there are moments when I'm slightly confused about the tone or change of emotion or something within, especially Regina. I've had more challenging moments with her.
Yeah.
And when those moments occur, I call my producers and just have a creative conversation about a particular scene and where the character is going, and that seems to be very helpful.
Yeah. And you mentioned Regina playing the dual roles is a nice thing for an actor to have. There's a couple of other shows on telly that have that luxury, like for instance Fringe has that, and we spoke to Anna Torv and those people, and they love being able to play two different people. What's your take on that?
I love it. For me, I've had so much fun working with the voice for each character.
Right.
Also body language, that Regina's very stoic and still and conservative, and the Queen is just so out there. I could play with her. I can really fly with the Queen. And so I worked a lot on, the body language of each character, really kind of separating the two because I wanted them to be very different.
Yeah.
When I learned that Regina has the knowledge of, she didn't lose her memory. She knows she's the Queen. It was a bit challenging for me. And I thought, okay, how much of the Queen do I now bring into Regina and Storybrooke? Yeah. And Robert Carlyle and I talked about that a bit, and especially in our scenes, we've been able to throw, in Storybrooke, we've been able to throw a little bit of the Queen and a little bit of Rumple in Regina and Mr. Gold, and that's been fun for us.
That's really one of the highlights of those characters, I must say. Now, we usually ask actors if, if you have some luck and you're nominated for an Emmy, you have to pick your favorite episode or your best episode that showcases your performance. And ABC is submitting you in the supporting actress category, which is really smart because you're the only one from the show. And so have you given it any thought at all about what your favorite or best episode from the season might be?
It varies. I really loved the Stable Boy episode.
Yeah.
Snow? Did you tell her about me and Daniel? Yes. But I told you very specifically not to. I'm sorry. I just didn't want you to lose your mother. Like I've lost mine. Are you mad?
No. I'm not mad at all. You were just trying to help me.
And I think it's partially because we really saw Regina in a different light. There's that last scene with young Snow White, and Regina's wearing that wedding gown. And I have a hard time watching that scene just for myself, because there's a look that comes across my face that kind of creeps me out a bit.
Wow.
Yeah, it just creeps me out. And it's rare that I have moments like that, where it's hard to watch. It's always hard to watch yourself up on, screen. But I don't see myself at all in that scene. Like, I am so far removed from the character that it creeped me out a bit.
Wow.
So I do like my performance in that episode very much. That's one of my favorites. And also the one that just aired, Apple as Red as Blood, I think it's called.
Yep.
I really like that episode. And a part of it is, we really got to play out the most iconic scene in Disney, when the Queen gives Snow White the apple and she has to take a bite out of it. That scene, I really loved. I really loved that scene.
Yeah, total highlight from the season, I think.
Yeah, it was. And that day, I remember we were filming it. It was so challenging. We were out in Alder Grove, here in Vancouver, and it was so windy. It was this huge windstorm where our ears were actually in so much pain from the cold and the wind that we had to shut down production for about an hour and change. And we had to relocate the scene. You wouldn't know it, but we had to actually relocate the scene because it was just too important, right? We couldn't fight against nature, and so we shut down production so we can really nail the scene. And I believe as a team, crew and actors and everyone involved, director, we really made it work.
Now, consulting with a very important Once Upon a Time fan that I know well, she says that The Stable Boy is your best episode by far, because it would have been a refreshing change to play the evil queen but not evil, because it's really about how she becomes the way she is. You've also got episode 2, The Thing You Love the Most, and episode 7, The Heart is a Lonely Hunter. They're good as well, I'm told. But my opinion is Stable Boy. I think you've hit the nail on the head. And speaking of that episode, working with Barbara Hershey, that would have been super exciting. She's such a well-acclaimed actress and so well-respected. Tell us about working alongside her.
It was such a joy. She really is an actor's actor, and I'm big on rehearsals. I love to work a scene until right until the moment when we're about to shoot. And I went up to her. She came into the hair and makeup trailer to meet everyone, and it was on a Friday. And we were scheduled to shoot together on Monday, and I asked her if she was free, that I'd love to get together with her over the weekend, and she was so open to it. And I met with her on Sunday, and we were talking about the characters, and we learned about each other as well. And I really think it fed into the performance. Mm-hmm. Just taking that time out to work together, over the weekend really gave us, the confidence and the security, and it was also quite believable that these two were mother and daughter. And I love an actor that she takes the work very seriously, and I respect that. Even in standing behind me while my hair and makeup is getting done, and she's running lines with me, wow. I love that. And I had a blast working with her. I'm very much looking forward to her return because she will come back in the second season.
Oh, great. That's good to know.
Yeah.
That's a little.
She'll have her story. You're going to learn about her as well, Cora.
That's some scoop for our Once Upon a Time fans. Now, I'm going to finish up by talking to you about the cast because the chemistry amongst you all is really, it's really something, and it's really rare because even though every actor I've ever spoken to, and I've spoken to about 150 of them by now, they've all said, oh, we all love each other and, you know, it's just like kumbaya and we sing around the fire, but you can totally tell when a show is not really working, when the actors just aren't really gelling on screen. Yours are not like that at all. Like your chemistry with Jennifer and especially Robert is totally obvious. And so tell us firstly about working with Robert, and then I'll give you his take.
Okay. Working with Robert has been a real treat on multiple levels. First and foremost, I've always been a fan of Train Spotting and Full Monty, and his instrument is so free and is so grounded and honest, and so I've always respected him as an actor. To have the opportunity to work with him has been awesome. I've learned a tremendous amount from him, and it happened mostly in the second episode when we did the jail scene together. It was our first, scene as the Rumple and the Queen. And I remember having a moment where I flubbed a line, and I went, oh, and he just looked at me and he goes, no, stay here. And I just looked at him and he goes, do it again. And he just kept me so present, and it felt like he was holding me. And I knew that in that moment that I was safe.
Yeah.
That this actor had my back, that, we can make anything work together. And we, out of that, became really good friends. And, he's become not only a mentor, but like a big brother. And I just adore working with him. And we can go anywhere. And I see the performances over each episode, how we keep getting stronger. Our characters are much more complex, but when we're on screen, when we're filming together, there's a level of trust there, so we can really go anywhere.
Yeah.
And
there you go.
He's one of the best actors I've ever worked with in my career.
He says that you're probably his closest best friend on the show, and he adores you and loves working with you, and he gave us all the stuff that I was hoping to hear. But then he said, I put him on the spot, and I said, what would you ask her if you were doing this Skype chat? And he said, ask Lana if the times that you've all spent together at the Waldorf has helped you get into your character and helped you on the show. So I was hoping that would, I don't know, he said his words were, it gets really messy. So yeah.
I think all the times at the Waldorf and some have helped us a tremendous amount, yes. And not only the Waldorf, but everywhere. On set, off set, rolling smokes. We both have it. That's when we realized, okay, we're going to be friends. If anything, we'll be good friends. Like we both roll our smokes, right? And it was like day one. We just met, and we were both stepping outside. And it was like, do you want to have a fag? Yeah, let's have a fag. I was like, okay. And we're both sitting rolling, and we're like, I think we're going to get along.
Wow. For anybody who's ever smoked, people who don't smoke will not understand that, but anyone who's ever smoked knows that is actually a real way to connect with someone. It really is. It's so rare.
Not many people roll, right?
No. Wow, that's cool. I like that. All right, well, listen, good luck with the Emmys, and whatever happens. Once Upon a Time will certainly will feature. It's the costumes and the sets and the way the show's designed, but maybe the actors might make a dent as well, and we wish you all the best, and good on you for season 2, and hopefully it will continue.
Thank you, Rob. It was really great talking with you. Thank you very much.